as you go down the mine track, not only does it affect your relationship points, but it's another minigame.
Yep.
So this is the only minigame, I believe, in Chapter 7, aside from, like, Queen's Blood.
Yeah, this is the one I was talking about, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So in this minigame, the objective is to, like, shoot and destroy as many boxes on the sides of the tracks as possible, both with Barrett's gun and Yuffie's throwing star simultaneously. And for me, I did the smoother route, and I felt like the targeting controls were weird, and
They were really bad, period.
yeah, and like, I don't play shooting games very often, you gotta remember that.
It's not a shooting game. It's just bad.
Especially with Barrett, it was harder than it should have been. Yuffie's controls were a little bit more straightforward, but like moving the target for Barrett was like slow or hard to keep track of or something. Now, that said, the game must be incredibly forgiving because it rates you, like how you did at the bottom of the course, and somehow I managed to get an excellent rating when I legitimately expected poor at best. Like, I thought I sucked. And I got excellent, and I'm like, okay, everyone gets excellent.
So these type of games, by the way, where you are like in a fixed thing, like a track, for example,
Yeah.
and you're shooting things all around you are called rail shooters.
Yeah, on rails.
It's a subgenre of games, right?
like Star Fox.
Star Fox isn't on rails, though.
Well, you can only
just like,
shift.
like you're moving.
You can't like fly to the left or fly to the right or go behind you. Just like the camera's always advancing forward.
Got it.
And so one of the most famous rail shooters ever is called Panzer Dragoon, and it was made for the Dreamcast.
Oh, I never played that.
They since ported it to many other systems.
Okay, I didn't know it was originally on the Dreamcast.
It's one of the most expensive games even, I think, on the Dreamcast now because it's such a good game.
Oh, really?
And the Dreamcast didn't do well, right?
Oh, so it's like a coveted.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so when I got in this minecart, the first thing that came was Panzer Dragoon, right? I was like, oh man, wow, this is like taking me back to like the Dreamcast era.
Yeah.
And that's why I was saying, like, did you kind of notice it when you got on this thing? Like, hey, there's a callback to an old Sega game from like back in the day.
Not even a little.
No, I didn't notice.
I'm kind of sad I missed it. No, I thought more Diddy Kong and some of the Mario stuff. And
You don't have to jump tracks or anything though.
Yeah.
oh yeah, jumping tracks in Donkey Kong was.
Yeah, it's stressful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is literally just a typical rails shooter is what it was. And I had a good time on it too. I was loving it.
Oh, you liked it. Okay.
But like you said, the controls were terrible.
So bad.
Terrible.
They're so bad.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not alone on that because I was like, there were times I didn't even know where the target was.
Yeah, it was like way off screen.
I was like, off screen or something.
And I couldn't figure out whether that was just me being that bad or
That's what I was thinking.
or if the developers were like trying to imply some kind of like physics involved, like because of the G forces on the turns, like
a moving or something.
you couldn't quite pull your. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is an example of them being bad again. Like when we talk about Pirates Rampage last chapter, same thing. Like shooting that thing. Ernest gave Cloud some credit because it was like, it's supposed to be a carnival game, so he probably can't shoot very well. But this is like Barrett, he's in his element. And then you're going down the mine track and you don't even see it come into frame, and all of a sudden you're zipping by and then there's boxes there. So it doesn't even lead the player along
That's
to be like,
true.
oh, you should pay attention here, look here. It just kind of goes around and then there's like some boxes here. It is just bad, but
Yeah.
it is fun. I like that it's bad because it's just a dumb another mini game.
It was super annoying. And then, like you said, when I got to the bottom, I don't know that I got excellent, but I got way better than I thought I thought I was going to get like, you failed this entire thing.
Okay, so you feel like me, like you didn't feel good at the game and expected a terrible rating.
No, I felt terrible doing it.
Yeah. Do you remember what your score was?
I did it last night and they didn't tell me an excellent rating. So maybe it only tells you the first time you do it. Or maybe I missed it because I have no idea. Because I did pretty good last night and I did it and I didn't see anything. Is it like a screen that pops up that tells you?
Well, yeah, there's no way I did better than you. Like on something like that.
I felt like I did terrible.
Yeah, I think I hit every Yuffie like throwing star and I did pretty good. And it was the third time I played it. And I don't remember there ever being an excellent.
Well, maybe you're just too good. You were better than excellent. It didn't know what to do.
I don't remember the ratings. So.
It's kind of tricky to even see it because it kind of pops up on the side. But yeah, now I do want to go back to Final Fantasy VII, the original, because there are similarities and differences that are important to mention here. So there are mine tracks in the original game at this point as well. And they do too have their own little mini game. But it is not the same. It is much less clear than Rebirth. So instead of riding in a minecart, we take to the tracks by foot in the original. And at certain points along the way, we hear like a rumble. And if you don't push the right button, in the right moment, then the track underneath us gives way and then we fall, this Cloud falls like a really long distance. And like it goes to like an overhead shot of Cloud like falling down.
Whoa.
And then there's these like instructions that say push these buttons to get the treasure. But there's no treasure. And you're like just falling and you're like, what is happening? So you don't know what to do. And like the buttons didn't really work very well for me. Anyway, I'm like, what treasure am I even aiming for? But then eventually Cloud catches a beam apparently at the bottom of the tracks. And then you have to climb up the whole set of tracks to get back up the support beams. And you have to climb up to get to the top. And as you're climbing, you're forced to climb past like a couple bags that I guess are the treasure. Mm-hmm. But it won't let you move left or right. So I think what you're supposed to do is when you're falling, you're supposed to make yourself move left or right. So you land left or right on the beam. And then you can climb up and get the treasure that's in that side.
Gotcha.
Right. So but I sucked at many of the mini games in Original 7 because this is just like, what is happening? I mean, a lot of the mini games back then were imaginative, but completely unclear on like how to be good at them unless you went back to like your save point and kept trying them over and over again. Though they do give you a few chances to play this one because the track gives way underneath you multiple times and you start to realize those treasure bags are in the same location. So you just have to get to one of those. Anyway, I could never figure it out. I never got the treasure. I don't know what it is. Whatever. But then after the not so exciting Mind Track mini games, you come across a big bridge and like underneath you is an open drawbridge below.
Oh, okay.
So that, like you're on like a tall bridge and then there's an open drawbridge below. So Rebirth's drawbridge wasn't completely random, right?
Cool.
Yeah, it's actually there, you know, just a little bit different timing.
Homage to the original game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in the original game, for some reason, Cloud is actually on the upper bridge while Tifa and Red are just like hanging out next to the drawbridge down below. I don't even remember them splitting, but you see them down and you know, okay, I need to actually find a way to close this drawbridge. So then our mission for the moment becomes that. And that's the same mission that we had here in Rebirth. But then if you continue down the track, and this is also interesting because I don't remember this until I looked back. When you're looking for a way to lower the drawbridge, you actually hear the sound of baby birds chirping.
Oh.
And if you climb up a wall, which actually is really hard to even know that you can climb up the wall because it's actually hard to navigate the old game. You don't know where you're able to walk.
You got to put yellow paint all over it so we know.
That would help a lot here, right?
Yeah.
So if you climb up this like wall, if you figure out you can even climb it, you and Aerith and Barrett like stumble on this like nest of baby birds chirping.
Wow.
But then instead of being like threatened by some big ugly bird, their nest is apparently made of like, it has like gems in it. You can kind of see some sparkly gems and you're given the option to either take the treasure or leave the treasure. I left it where it was and nothing happened. I just went back to what I was doing. So I didn't know, but I looked it up online. If you take the treasure, then apparently you have to fight like a big bird, which is called a cockatolus, but it looks more like a chicken. So it doesn't look like the Gigatrice. Mm-hmm. Apparently that's the chick's mother. And if you defeat it, you get 10 Phoenix Downs. So I didn't want to murder anyone's mother. I left it alone.
But you actually fight the mother. In this one, they're like, the mom's good, not the...
Yeah, they don't make you kill the mom. Right.
Yeah.
So again, if you thought the baby chicks in Rebirth were a little random, just like the hiker, right? Now you know where they came from.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like a bird's nest that you see for a hot second. They put that in Rebirth. So the developers are trying to be fresh and new, but still respect the original title. And I really respect that.
Yeah,
I
like
respect
that.
those efforts, right?